Hello and welcome back to VEDISI. I just sort of got out of the shower, that's why my hair is wet, and it was a lovely evening and I thought I'll sit down on my bed there and I'll do a little vlog. So I put sort of a bit of makeup on, half a head as I like to call it, and I thought I'll just do a little rambly vlog, but I can't think of anything to ramble about. I'm a bit lost for words today. What should I talk about? You can't tell me. You're in the future. I'll tell you what, I will ask Twitter. I'm gonna ask Twitter, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back and I have to film at this angle because when I lean forward, that happens. That's far too bright. So I'll just sit like this. That's fine, I usually sit like this. This is how I always sit. It's so comfortable. Bloody hell. So I asked Twitter. This is ridiculous. What do you be at when I say I'm filming right now? Send in suggestions. The shit I get, I swear sometimes I wonder about you all, but I do also love you all, and some of these suggestions are hilarious. Also, fish custard is trending. Oh my god, so many more questions just came in. What is my favourite and least favourite fruit, lads? Do better. I mean, like, I know I'm the bitch over here being like, I got nothing to say, ask me things, and you're just trying to help. But do you want me to answer that question? Fine. My favourite and least favourite fruit. Wow. I really like strawberries. I can't believe I'm answering this. I really like strawberries. I wouldn't say kiwi is my least favourite fruit, but I'm kind of allergic to it. So for that reason, we'll say kiwis. There's a lot of people asking me about films as well, and it's really interesting the reaction that I have to that, like in my body. Like when you say, list your favourite films or tell us what to watch. I'm just like, oh, that feels like work. Like anything to do with, my hair will be dry by the end of this. Anything to do with, like if you say list your favourite films, I'd be like, oh God, I would have to go away and sit for a whole day and like make a list of 50 films and then whittle it down again until it was something that could go on the internet. And then I would feel like I'd have to speak like really eloquently about them because I'm a filmmaker and I'm in that industry. And it's so funny when you ask me stuff about that kind of thing, I kind of just freeze up because I'm like, oh, that seems like work. Look, we're all learning here. I realise you're still watching this and we're 3 minutes in and we still don't know what the fuck we're doing. But these are interesting questions that I'm just having a little scroll through now. A lot of people asking me for stories about weird dates I've been on. I've not been on that many dates, to be honest. TBH with a H at the beginning. I read out the first chapter of my book, and while it is fiction, the story about the shit date is pretty much not fiction. So you can just go and listen to that if you want, because that's a date that I was sort of on one time and that was weird. Just some pictures of dogs. Thank you. Thanks for that, guys. My top 5 favourite artists. What does that mean? You mean musicians? Again, this feels like that's so much pressure. That's like the things that you like are such an extension of yourself, and I know that they shouldn't be. Like, you know, you are more than the things you like, but like it's not that like you'd judge me for it. It's not that I feel like, oh, if I just listed off a bunch of bands or musicians that I like, you're going to be like, oh, Hazel, that's a shit one, or you forgot this one. It's sort of me in myself. I would know, oh, I'd really want that to be on the list as well. And like, I'd be afraid to give you, I'm so terrified ever. This is like a weird thing I've just realized about myself. I'm terrified about giving people definitive lists of stuff. Because what if the list changes? Or what if you like forget to put a thing on the list? It's just so much pressure. So much pressure. I could give you like a vague approximation of things I like, but yeah. Did I see The Lighthouse? I did. Any thoughts? Yes. Several. what's one film you know is objectively probably really bad, but you will always defend how much you love it? Armageddon. Fucking love Armageddon. It's terrible. It's a terrible film, but it's also not. It's brilliant. It's genius. It is so good. And I know I've talked about this a million times, and I know particularly any of my friends watching this are like, Hazel, stop talking about Ben Affleck's Armageddon commentary. But there is a video on YouTube, which I will link to in the description, which is just Ben Affleck doing like, he's doing the commentary for the DVD. But oh my God, sorry, my bra is just fully showing there, didn't even realise. Ooh. Wouldn't be the first time, would it, Hazel? Yeah, there's a video where Ben Affleck is doing the DVD commentary and someone's just taken a clip from it. I mean, watch it yourselves, but he's literally just like pointing out like the flaw of the film, which is that the entire crux of the plot is fucking stupid. Because if you haven't seen Armageddon, and firstly you should, it's amazing, but if you haven't, essentially there's an asteroid in space that's going to destroy Earth, right? And what they need to do is they need to go to the asteroid, like fly into space to the asteroid, land on it, and then drill a big hole in the asteroid and put a bomb in it to blow the asteroid up, right? That really is the plot of Armageddon. I thought it would be harder to describe, it's not. But, and here's where it gets interesting, instead of teaching the astronauts how to drill a hole, they go get a bunch of oil driller men. What's the word for that? Who knows? Like men who work on an oil rig, the leader of whom is Bruce Willis, obs. And they go ask them, could they learn to be astronauts to fly to space to drill a hole in the asteroid? And basically this clip is just Ben Affleck being like, I once asked Michael Bay, the director, obviously it was Michael Bay, I asked Michael, wouldn't it be easier to teach astronauts to drill than to teach drillers to be astronauts? And Michael said, shut the fuck up. That's it. And it's just Ben being like, why is this the point? But P.S. Ben Affleck's in the film. He's doing a commentary on a film he is in himself. And just ripping it to shit, and I love it. It just brings me joy. It brings me endless joy. Oh, in other news, I actually made a Twitter thread of stuff that brings me joy, like clips of things that no matter how many times I see them, they will just always make me laugh or smile. So that's on Twitter. I will also link to that in the description. You're so fucking welcome. I want more questions. These are interesting. Oh my God. Look, I was going to do a different video. We'll save that for a different day because actually I'm enjoying this now. What is the first film that comes to mind that feels charming? Paddington. 1 or 2. They're both so charming, so lovely. I love those films so much. I assume you've seen the Paddington films. I feel like some people haven't watched them because it's about a bear and stuff, and they're like, oh, it's probably shit. Because we've had a lot of shit films, haven't we? I mean, in general, but we've had a lot of like making a beloved childhood character into a live action film. You know, obviously there was Sonic. We won't even fucking talk about Sonic. They did it with Winnie the Pooh, didn't they? Oh, they did do it with Winnie the Pooh, and he looks not right. And there's probably like a million other examples I could think of, but like, yeah. So I think a lot of people haven't watched Paddington because they're afraid that it's gonna like ruin Paddington for them, or it'll just be a bit shit. It's not. It is so lovely and so charming and so well directed, and genuinely, you could take either Paddington film. If I were a college lecturer, if I taught people about film and like film structure, character arcs, plot, exposition, whatever aspect of film you want to teach, I would use the Paddington films as examples. I would just put that on in class and maybe not in class, I'd send people off to watch it. That's probably a better use of a lecturer's time. Anyway, I'd make people watch it and then we would break down Paddington. It is like they're perfect. They are both perfect films. I almost hope there isn't a third one because like it's so perfect I wouldn't want it to be ruined. That said, if it was the same team, I think the third one would be just as good. What's your favorite thing to do with the people you're isolating with? That sounded like a really cheeky laugh, like I was doing something weird with Dodie. I'm not. I laughed because it made me think of Dodie and I cuddling, because was it yesterday morning? I don't know what days are anymore. But I think it was yesterday morning. I woke up just so desperate for human contact. It's like becoming a bit of an issue now. And I love a cuddle. I love a cuddle. Now, let me be clear. I don't just cuddle with anyone. I do struggle sometimes when I meet people and they want to like hug me straight away and like I haven't established that relationship with you yet. So I'm just putting that out there for anyone who's watching this who one day meets me and is like, Hazel loves cuddles, and comes at me. I actually prefer sort of on first encounters, as I get to know people, that we don't cuddle. But obviously Dodie is basically my little sister. And we are obviously very, very, very close. And I feel incredibly comfortable cuddling with her. So got up yesterday morning and went into the kitchen to put the kettle on. And while the tea was brewing, we were just stood in the kitchen and I was like, could we go to bed and have a cuddle? And she was like, yes, we can. And it wasn't even that weird. It was lovely. We got into bed and we spooned and we took turns like spooning each other, and oh, it was so lovely. It was so comforting, genuinely. Like we both got a little bit emotional when like someone was holding us, just to be held. There's something like, oh, there's just something so soothing about that feeling of being held and having arms wrapped around you, and I love it. And yeah, so we had a little chat. It was nice. We just sort of chatted and cuddled for a while, and then we went and finished the tea and made some breakfast, and that was the start to our day. But I think we're finding that we're going to start, like, I was going to say implementing this. Sounds like a very strict way of having cuddles. But we're going to try and like make sure we're spending time during the day. Like we're giving ourselves moments for stuff like that you wouldn't necessarily think about. Like even tonight we just went out onto the roof terrace and just pissed about for a while. Really, we were just like walking around in circles and spinning around like we did when we were kids, and sort of running and jumping and talking crap, and like it was just nice to be out there and just have the sky above us and have a bit of fresh air and be outside, really. So, and I was like, it's outside hour. We should have outside hour more. So I think, we're going to try and make sure that there's cuddle time and outside time and whatever other times that we need during this weird time. What are we on? 16 minutes. Bloody hell. I'm enjoying this. Are you enjoying this? It's a little bit less chill than usual, isn't it? Because I'm, I don't know, I'm in a good mood. I'm feeling good today. Decided to do this in a woolly jumper today, though. Why'd you do that, Hazel? How is the unnecessary otter these days? Do I tell the truth? I threw unnecessary otter away a couple of years ago. I threw him in the bin because it was disgusting. It was fucking disgusting, wasn't it? It was a taxidermied fucking stoat. I know it wasn't a stoat, I can't remember. I think it was an English pine marten. And I actually had it repaired one time because we were filming something and his tail like fell off. His tail like snapped in half, and I think it was Sylvia Ville had to stitch him up. I can't even remember now. It feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, I threw him in the bin because it was fucking gross. And anyone who says otherwise is wrong. You weren't there. You didn't smell it. Okay. Do you tell people that you're a YouTuber or a writer? What do you consider your primary job to be? This is turning into an AMA. That's what it is. This is what we're doing now. I don't tell people I'm a YouTuber but I have never considered myself to be a YouTuber. There are few people in the world I would call a YouTuber. I think that kind of needs to be the primary focus of your career to say that. Like, I would say I'm on YouTube. Even someone like Dodie, who is, you know, objectively way more successful than me on YouTube, I wouldn't call her a YouTuber. Like, she's a musician. She posts her music online. She shares her life online. Well, like, certainly used to a lot more, like, vlog and that kind of thing. But I would never really have called her a YouTuber. And that's not to, like, disown it. It's not to say that I'm not proud of what I've done on YouTube. I really am. I just never really saw it as, like, my primary job title. I would have said even something like vlogger makes more sense to me, because it's like you are creating, you know, when back in the day when the name came about, there were bloggers and then there were video bloggers, and that's where vlog came from. And it's like, that makes sense to me. It's like a blog, but in video form. The term YouTuber is just so all-encompassing and really doesn't explain what you do. And I think I also try and lean away from words like YouTuber and influencer and stuff, because, well, I mean, influencer is just a gross word. I've said this for a long time now, but, like, the first time people started calling me an influencer, I said, like, you're one step away from calling me a manipulator. It's a weird, like, my job is not to influence people. That seems strange. It's like that comes, I guess, as a byproduct of having an audience and having a platform. Like, you know, I follow lots of people online. I follow Jessica Chastain and Mark Ruffalo and Guillermo del Toro, and, like, technically, yeah, if one of those people was to say, oh, I watched this film, or I read this book, or I, you know, found this artist I really like, I would be influenced into wanting to go and, like, discover that for myself or check it out. But I wouldn't call any of those people an influencer, and nor would you. You know, they're actors and directors, and yeah, it's a strange one. So yeah, in short, no, I've never really called myself a YouTuber. I think it doesn't describe what I do. I quite like the term creator. You know, if you make stuff online, because there was a time, and there kind of still is, where I'm dabbling in a lot of different things and creating content, whatever that might be. And there are people who do songs and poetry and art and films and books and all sorts of different stuff. And I think creator is a nice description for that. Like, I would describe Elle Mills as a creator. She creates content, like, she creates stuff, and her videos are often quite different. But at the end of the day, she's a storyteller. That's another word I like to use. I would say that I'm a storyteller, and that comes in lots of different forms. But I just like telling stories, and whether that's me sitting here chatting shit to you, and just sort of telling the story of, like, what my day has been, versus a book, versus a poem, versus a film, whatever it is, I like to tell stories. So I haven't answered the question, really. I would say I'm a writer. When I meet people and they ask what I do, I say I'm a writer, because that kind of covers the majority of it. That covers, like, the book and screenwriting, and then even with these videos, well, not these videos, certainly not these ones, but I usually write scripts for my videos. Yeah, I would say I'm a writer now. I think I will feel more sure of that, like, more, I guess, validated in saying that when my book is, like, when I'm a published author. In 10 years, I'd be extremely happy to be where you are in your career. Where do you want to be in 10 years? So 10 years ago, I think I would have wanted to have acted in quite a lot of stuff, and it's interesting how that's changed, but I'm not in any way disappointed by it. I love the journey that I've taken, and, you know, in writing more and more for the screen, and in doing what I've done on YouTube and building the audience that I now have, I've been able to write a book. Like, that's fucking awesome. And, like, being able to crowdfund that is just, I'm so lucky to have got to done that. And I'm, you know, not just lucky, I've worked really hard to get where I am, but you know, I'm in a privileged position, and I know that, like, to have to have an audience who pre-ordered and crowdfunded and got me to a place where I was able to, you know, keep control of my book creatively. It's cool. So yes, I wouldn't be disappointed with where I am. I think when I started directing, I guess I had all these hopes of like, you know, by the time I'm 35, I will have directed this and that feature and I'll have done this and that. And like, I think if I'd stayed in that mindset, I might be disappointed by where I'm at now. But things have shifted a lot for me. Like I've just changed a lot. I've as I keep saying, I've sort of done a lot of healing work and a lot of work in therapy and a lot of work on myself, and I'm very different and very much the same, but also different. And my expectations of myself and my priorities in life have shifted quite a lot. So I think I'm really happy with where I'm at, because I got to a point where I just I now accept that all I really want is a zig ah. No, it's to be a storyteller. To come back to like what I was saying, like to be telling stories, to be creating, to be a creator and a storyteller in some form or fashion. And I am genuinely, and I'm not just saying this because this is where I'm at, and like I'm doing that thing of like, no, I'm really happy where I'm at. I am really happy where I'm at, because I am genuinely happy to wake up every day and get to do a thing I love. Like that's fucking amazing. Like that I can pay my bills. And a lot of that is very much subsidized by spawns that I'm still doing on like YouTube and Insta and stuff. But you guys are so supportive of those sponsorships always. And I think it's because I've made a point over the years of only like working with brands I've really wanted to work with, and always trying to make it interesting creatively and whatever else. But you guys are so great. Like when I get a Tipsy Talk sponsor or that kind of thing, you're always like, you're being paid to drink. Good for you. It's so lovely. You're so supportive. I don't really ever get people having a problem with it, because I think you see so much behind the scenes, and you know I'm over here working my ass off to create films or my book or whatever for you. And a lot of the content I've made over the years has been free, so it feels like there's a give and take there, and it's been really lovely. So you know, the sponsorships I do and the money that comes in from them pays my bills, and I get to write and direct and work on films and work on my book and make these lovely little videos with you. Like I'm so lucky I just get to do this. This is my job. I'm sitting here chatting to you, and that's cool. And also there are other exciting things happening that I can't tell you about just yet, but there's some cool shit afoot, and yeah, I can't wait to be able to tell you about that. I might be soon. I'll let you know soon. Wow, this all came from the 10-year question. The point is, I'm at a nice place. I'm at a nice place where I have established myself as good at what I do, and I get paid to do that. And that's great, because I love what I do. And okay, I don't have, 5 feature films and 4 books under my belt or whatever, but I've stopped measuring life in metrics like that. It really, really is so much about the day-to-day. It's so much about the present moment. You can plan all you like, and hey, this is a perfect example of life doesn't give a shit about your plans. The best laid plans of mice and men, you can plan all you like, and you should plan, and it's good to have goals. But like, if you're in a position where everything hinges on whether you get to do that one job, or whether you get to get the paycheck that you wanted by a certain age, or get married by a certain age, or if you set yourself up for these goals, things are so subject to change that you're kind of just setting yourself up for a fall. So I've changed my perspective a lot, so that it's now not really about like, when I get to this point, I will be happy. I think I'm going to make a whole separate video about this, because suddenly I realize this is quite interesting. So I'll wrap this up, but the whole point is, I no longer look at it as like, when I get to a point, I will be happy. It's about, am I happy today? When I wake up today, is what I'm doing from the morning till the evening, is it fulfilling and satisfying, and does it make me happy and content? And if it does, great. You know, that's all I need day to day. And am I going to wake up tomorrow and have a similar kind of day? If I do, great. You know, and if at any point I'm waking up every day feeling like I'm not really happy with my day today, I'm not really loving this, then I'll change it. But for now, I'm really happy with it. So where do I see myself in 10 years? Fuck knows. Fuck knows. I could not tell you. I can't tell you where I'm going to be next week. Well, I'm going to be here next week. But you know what I mean? Am I going to be here next week? I don't know. Are any of us? Who knows? Everything's constantly shifting and changing. I don't know about 10 years. All I know is I want to still be waking up every day excited about the day ahead and excited about what I do and feeling fulfilled and satisfied and happy and content. And that really is all it is. And I would like to think I will still have, you know, wonderful relationships in my life that fill me up and make me feel good. I have so many of those now, so many wonderful friendships. I would like to think that those friends will still be around, and many more. And also I am realistic enough to know that some of those friends may not be around in 10 years for various reasons, and that's okay too. And I, you know, career-wise, I just want to be making stuff. I just want to be making good stuff that I'm proud of, that makes me excited to think about. Like literally right now, I'm thinking about the news that I want to tell you that I can't tell you yet, and it makes me smile. It makes me excited. All right, we are quite far into the video now. So much more than I intended to film. I'm going to just wrap up with a couple of quick little questions, and then we're all going to go hang out with some friends on Zoom. Or whatever it is you kids are into these days. Did I go to uni? And if so, what did I study? Any advice for someone starting next year? I did go to uni. I went to DCU and I did journalism, which was a 4-year degree. And I didn't want to be a journalist by the end of it, but that's okay, because I learned lots of other things. There was actually quite a lot in it about film and art and history and politics, and I ended up, like, I loved the individual modules I was taking, but by the end of it I realized journalism was too prescriptive for me. I'm way more of a creative writer, and yes, you could have a column, you know, you could do opinion pieces, you could be more creative in journalism. It's not to say journalists can't be creative, but it's a very difficult thing to get into. It's a very difficult position to get yourself to, where you know, have your own column and have a steady income from opinion pieces. And to get to that place, often you have to do a lot of straight journalism, which wasn't for me. But as soon as I came out of there, I had a job offer from Google, and everything just changed. I was going to go work at a local newspaper, and Google offered me a job, and you don't say no to Google. So I took that and then went from Google into YouTube once that all started up. And the rest, as they say, is history. But yes, I did, and I studied journalism, and I loved uni. I loved the experience of it, and I would highly recommend it to anyone, even if you don't end up doing anything with the degree that you take. There's so much more benefit from uni than just your degree. Advice, if you're starting next year, grab it by the balls. Just fucking enjoy it. There's so much to be got from it, and I think I was very, very active and very involved in society life, student union life. I actually ran for office for the student union in my last year, and I stayed on at the university in a sabbatical position for a year after my degree. I was the deputy president for education and welfare, along with 2 other really, really wonderful people who ran the union together with me, and it was a really great year. It was a really cool year, and I loved all the time that I spent with those people, and they meant a lot to me, and that time meant a lot to me. And yeah, and before that I was involved in like various societies and running events, and like I said earlier, I acted in a lot of the musicals and plays and all sorts. So I would say just fucking dive in, get as involved as possible. Don't just be one of those people who turns up for lectures and then like spends the rest of your time elsewhere, because campus is like, if you have a campus, it's a wonderful place to be, and there's so many great people that you will meet and who will stay with you for the rest of your life. And yeah, friendships that you kind of form that will become a huge part of your life and who you are. And that is my advice for going to uni. Have I ever been arrested? Sorry, I just looked down and saw that. No. Funnily enough, no. I just think with all the shenanigans I've got up to at this point, I probably should have. I don't think I've ever like broken the law in a big way. I'm actually quite tame. It's all just mischief, really. I've never done anything that interesting. Is there anything I'm weirdly proud of, like being able to flawless wrap something? Oh God, no, not really. Is there anything I'm weirdly proud of? I can name all the original cast members of Star Trek The Next Generation and their character names. So if you threw the name of a character at me, I could tell you what the actor was who played that. That's ridiculous, isn't it? That is not a skill, Hazel. But yeah, it is something I'm weirdly proud of. Also, I can do this weird thing with my thumb, which I just had to crack it first. That probably sounded really gross. So thumb, look, if you're squeamish, look away, but this really isn't a squeamish thing, but I feel like I need to put fucking trigger warnings on things. Okay, thumb, and then it sort of goes, I can sort of turn it and put it, sort of just put it there. Can you, there. Make a fist, and there's my thumb, he's in there. I can put him quite far. Yeah, so that's that. Also, my fingers are very bendy. I'm hypermobile. It's actually a problem, but Dodie enjoys this thing. And oh my God, then the other day I was like, well, what do your fingers do? And I pushed them and they didn't move. They didn't move past this. And I was like, trying to get them to go. They just wouldn't. Should we wrap up? I feel like we should wrap up. I feel like, given we hadn't got a clue what this video was when we started, we did pretty well. I always feel like I need to take like one more question because the answers to every question are so long and rambling and batshit, quite frankly, that I'm like, I'll just take one more question and then that will be the one that will like have this lovely ending that will wrap things up, because it's the storyteller in me, isn't it? It's like I need I need that good shit. I need that ending. I need that, like, you know, to say that thing as part of the answer and then feel like, what a lovely natural conclusion to the video. So I keep taking more questions in the hope that that happens. And it never does because I just keep rambling. Okay, here's the actual last question. Any tips for not giving a fuck what others think? Now, I have several friends who really do give a fuck what others think, and I don't. And we talk about that a lot. Like, I'll be like, what's it like to care so much what people think of you? And they'll be like, what's it like to not care? It's crazy. And I honestly think that is not really something I'm going to be able to fix for you in this video right now, because it does seem to be something that's just really ingrained in people and will have come obviously from your life and your experiences and the perception you have of yourself and the way people have taught you in the past that it will affect you when other people do or don't like you, and you know, all that kind of stuff is going to come into play. So me being like, who cares, isn't going to make you stop caring. Also, to be completely clear, of course I care what people think. I think for me, what's most important, and I'm kind of realizing this more and more, is it really, really, really gets to me when I'm like trying to do my best, when I'm trying to be a good person, I'm trying to do good, I'm trying to do right and do things by my moral compass and have integrity. Integrity is so important to me. And it bothers me when people misconstrue that or think ill of me anyway. For example, this is not a thing. This is like a random hypothetical example. If someone were to turn around now and say that I was exploiting the coronavirus situation by making all this shit content, like, oh, she's just getting on the bandwagon and trying to get views and trying to like exploit a horrible situation, I think that would upset me, because I'd be feeling like, no, hey, hold on. I'm trying to do a nice thing here and you've completely misinterpreted that. But I guess in answer to your question, the difference maybe between me and someone else is I quite quickly could probably shrug that off and not allow it to consume me and like ruminate on it too much. Like I would get upset and then I would be able to stop and really look inwards and ask myself, Hazel, why are you making these videos? And I would give myself an honest answer about why I'm doing it. And that answer would be like, yeah, partly it's selfish because I want a task to do every day and I want to stay productive and I want to make things and I want to promote my book. And I've been using these videos to promote my book. But a lot of it genuinely is wanting to provide people with like a safe, calm space and, just make shit that soothes them and keeps them feeling nice. So I would be able to give myself that answer and then be able to dismiss that person and be like, you know what, ultimately they don't know me and they don't know my reasons. And it says more about them that they think that about me than it does about me. And that is a place that it takes time and age and wisdom and experience to get to. It affects me more when it's someone I am close to, someone I love, whose opinion I really respect and ordinarily would ask for when trying to make decisions. If someone who knows me really well thinks bad of me, that upsets me. And again, it's that thing of like, I'll have to stop and kind of look at the situation and think, did I do a bad thing? Or have they misconstrued my actions or behavior or words or whatever? And it's that same kind of process of, I'm usually pretty good at stepping back and like having a bit of compassion for them and understanding like, okay, I see why you thought that. I can see where you're coming from emotionally, that maybe it's easier to think that about me than to look at the truth. Or, maybe you were coming from a place of fear and it came out as anger, but actually, you're not angry with me or whatever. But when it does affect me is when I know there's some truth to it, which I think also is probably a good thing. Like it's good when people call you up on shit. I think it's a good skill to have, to be able to stop and look at it and question yourself. And if there is some truth to it, if somebody says, hey, this thing you're doing is really upsetting me, your behavior upsets me and hurts me, you should be able to look at it and ask yourself, are they justified in saying that? And was my behavior hurtful? And if it was, you should be able to own it and apologize and make changes so that doesn't happen again. And I kind of pride myself on being able to do that. And that all is kind of part and parcel of being affected by what people think of you. Because if people think ill of you, either A, all right, here it is. Here's the end of the video. We've got I just wanted to let you know, my storyteller brain went, that's it, Hazel. You're on to it now. You're about to head in to a little stream of like, you're going to say a big profound thing and then you're going to end the video. And this is how that talks. That's that voice, apparently. Brilliant. I'm just sitting here just laughing at myself. Yeah, I suddenly was like on a little roll of like a thing I was going to say, and now I've completely lost track of it because I stopped to tell you that that's what happened in my head. What was I going to say? Yes. Okay, here we go. Here's the huge finale you've all been waiting for. When people think bad things about you, right? When people criticize you or think ill of you or have negative opinions of you, there are 3 ways I live with that. One is they think this negative thing about me and I can stop and look inwards and realize that's not true. They think it, but it's not true. And I can't change how they think. I can only affect myself and my behavior and how I think. And I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because I'm not doing anything wrong. And if they think badly of me, that's just something I have to accept. 2, someone thinks bad of me or thinks I've done a bad thing or whatever, and I stop and I look inwards and I go, oh, I have done a bad thing. What I did, my behavior was, you know, irresponsible or inappropriate or hurtful in some way, and they've called me out on it, and they're right. They're right. I need to change that. I need to not behave that way in future. And yeah, I'm butthurt. Yeah, my pride is hurt. Yeah, I'm fucking embarrassed and mortified and all of those things. But I change so that it doesn't happen again. So that's the second option. That's the second thing that like comforts me. It's only ever going to go one of 2 ways. Either you agree with them and you change, or you disagree with them and accept that they just don't like you. And the third thing that comforts me is something I said to Tessa Violet quite a long time ago now. She is one of the friends I have who really struggles with what people think of her. I don't think so much anymore, but she did at the time. And I said to her, some people don't like chocolate ice cream. And that really made her feel better. Like, chocolate ice cream is delicious. People love it. I don't really like chocolate ice cream. I prefer strawberry. Point being, there are things in the world that lots of people like and lots of people don't like. And that doesn't make that thing inherently good or bad. It's just that taste is subjective. So I said to Tessa, you know, you just need to think of yourself as chocolate ice cream. There are plenty of people out there who are going to think you're great. There are plenty of people like me who won't, because I don't like chocolate ice cream, not because I don't like Tessa. I love Tessa. But that doesn't fundamentally change who you are or whether you are good or bad. You just aren't to everybody's taste, and you're never, ever, ever going to be. And imagine a world where we all just liked all the same things. Like, how boring would that be? And it's impossible, because, you know, people are different and their taste is different. So that's what I said to her, and that's what I would say to you, person who asked me not to give a fuck about what people think, and I hope it helped. And that is where I'm going to leave the video. And do you see what happened in my brain when it saw the direction that was heading, and that I had this like little 3-point summary thing to sum up this whole idea, this concept I've been talking about for ages and couldn't really find a way around it. And I was like, oh, there it is. It's so succinct. It's so perfect. And you're going to hit them with it, and then you're just going to peace out, and that's going to be the end of the video. It's wonderful, Hazel. You've nailed it. That is the voice in my head. Sometimes it's nice to me. Bye.